call this a shortcut, as I personally believe tarot is a journey of exploration and discovery that is potentially limitless. But the techniques discussed in this video will certainly provide a head start in your levels of understanding. Memorizing each unique card isn't something that you should force. Insight comes in time and often can be aided by understanding various principles attached to each card, the corresponding signs, planets, suits and elements, and the numbers. In other tarot tutorials on this channel, I have looked at various facets, and today this will be a numbers game. We can view both the major and minor arcana as journeys from 1 through 10. For the major arcana, we need to understand the Fool as the protagonist that goes on this journey, and the Magician, card number 1, as the beginning. This is why the major arcana is often known as the Fool's Journey, telling the story of our passage from childhood and innocence through maturation and enlightenment. Of course, there are more than 10 cards in the major arcana, and when we hit the 10, we keep things simple and add numbers together to interpret the single card. We keep things simple and add together the numbers to interpret the single number. For card number 10, the Wheel of Fortune, that would be 1 plus 0, which equals 1, and thus the numbers 10 always represent both the completion and the beginning once again. Card number 11, Justice, would be 1 plus 1, which is 2. Card number 12, the Hanged Man, would be 1 plus 2, which is 3, and so on. This means that there are several cards that correspond to each number. The number 1, for example, is the Magician and all 4 aces. Even though each of the 4 aces and the Magician have different meanings, they all have the same underlying message or theme, and that is, in the case of the wands, new beginnings. The Magician is a major arcana card, the archetypal big picture cards, depicting important moments in one's life path. These cards are often pivotal and carry a deeper, even psychic meaning. So the Magician would be the beginning of something significant, and he is active, not passive, in this process, willing something new into being, manifesting what it is he desires, knowing he has all of the tools to achieve this. We can see the Magician has one of each suit on his table. These represent all 4 aces at his disposal. To explore what kind of beginning this might be for the minor arcana, we refer to the suit and its corresponding element. Cups represent water, which is emotions, creativity, intuition, and relationships. The Ace of Cups then would be the beginning of a new love, or a renewal of feelings and emotion for someone or something. Pentacles are of elemental earth, which is, among other things, material wealth, money, career, manifestation, even time and investment. The Ace of Pentacles therefore speaks of something tangible, something you can see or touch, and sometimes something being offered. Swords are of air, which speaks of clarity, communication, truth, intellect, and thoughts. The Ace of Swords then can be a revelation or an epiphany of sorts. It could be the start of dialogue or a fresh, new, and bright idea. Wands are, of course, fire, which is inspiration, passion, energy, and enthusiasm. The Ace of Wands then can talk of a spark that has been ignited, begging the question, where will you direct this energy, as so not to waste this opportunity and let the spark of inspiration pass you by. Here are a few key words to get you started. Wands or aces are new beginnings, opportunity, potential, and sometimes a reinvigoration. Twos are balance, choices, connection, shared experiences, partnership, and duality. Threes represent creativity, collaboration, groups, growth, and creation. Fours are foundations, structure, stability, security, commitment, and manifestation. Fives speak of change, challenges or obstacles, instability and conflict, or even chaos, but also of experience. Sixes are communication, cooperation, harmony, perfection, healing, and comfort. Sevens are reflection, re-evaluation, assessment, knowledge, knowing adjustments need to be made. Eights are concerned with progress and success, mastery, action, and accomplishment. The number 8 itself is also an infinity symbol, but more about that later. Nines are consolidation, fruition, attainment, accomplishment, and fulfillment. And tens are the completion, the end of the cycle, the completion or the culmination. And as I said, numerologically, a 10 can be broken down to a 1, and so tens are both the end and the new beginning simultaneously. And of course, how any of these manifest depends on which suit they correspond to, among other things. I have come up with a cake-making metaphor to explain this journey briefly for you before we look at each individual number, as this is a journey, a progression through numbers 1 to 10, and the numbers therefore cannot be understood in isolation. Please do understand that in all my years of reading tarot, I have never predicted someone will be making a cake. This is, of course, a metaphor. I just find for many this metaphor is a great way of explaining this. So here goes. At stage 1, the aces, all we are doing is thinking of making a cake. It's simply the idea, hey, I think I'll make a cake today. The motivation for doing this depends, of course, on which ace we are talking about. The Ace of Cups may mean you love cake, or the Ace of Pentacles could mean you're hungry, for example. The twos would be the idea taking form. Perhaps you're making some choices. Will this be a chocolate cake or a lemon cake? Perhaps you're digging out an old recipe book. You might be imagining how this cake will turn out, like in the Two of Wands. Perhaps you want to make several cakes and wonder if you're taking on too much, like the Two of Pentacles. When we hit the 3, now things are moving. We are buying ingredients, measuring, weighing, making sure that you have enough eggs, looking over the chosen recipe, perhaps asking the advice of that colleague who knows all about making cakes, or informing your friends that there will soon be cake to go around. At the 4, we are mixing batter and sifting flour, and now we can truly say, I am making a cake. Perhaps you're feeling good about your progress so far, as with the 4 of Wands, or perhaps you've lost your appetite and wonder if you even want cake now, as with the 4 of Cups. Consider each suit and element at each of these stages. For each, there are potentially 4 very different approaches for each of these stages, 4 different responses to the challenge or problem, and at the end, 4 different cakes and responses to said cake. When we reach the 5, we might hit a roadblock or a problem. Oh no, we used salt instead of sugar. Maybe you started second guessing yourself. Perhaps I should have gone for chocolate. What if I end up regretting the lemon? Is someone else to blame for this failure? Do I need to reevaluate, or should I just press on? When we reach the 6, we are back on track. Any issues have now been ironed out. The cake is ready to be put in the oven, and the wonderful smell begins to fill the kitchen. Perhaps this smell fills you with the nostalgia of the 6 of Cups. Perhaps you're feeling particularly pleased with yourself, as with the 6 of Wands. The 7 is where you begin to pace the kitchen. Is the cake done yet? Should I leave it a little more? Will it turn out okay? Did I do everything right? Was there anything I could have done better? Maybe I'll just buy a cake from the shop and pretend that I made it as not to lose face. Perhaps that would be the 7 of Swords approach here. The 8 is the proof of the pudding. If this is the 8 of Pentacles, perhaps you are decorating your cake, carefully cultivating flowers or lettering from icing to make this perfect. If this was the 8 of Cups, perhaps it's sunken in the middle and maybe you think you should abandon the effort entirely. The 9 is the eating stage, but What does your cake taste like? Will you share it or keep it for yourself? Are you satisfied with your cake or disappointed? Do you think it was a good effort, or is there room for improvement? Are you delighted with your efforts and enjoying your tasty cake, or do you wish that you had done the whole thing differently? The 10 would then be thinking back on all you have achieved and taking those lessons moving forward with this new understanding. You may be so disappointed with your efforts that it will be a while before you consider making a cake again. Perhaps you ate too much and you feel a little sick, or you might be so inspired that you want to start again straight away, knowing your cake will be even better next time around. Again, the suits and elements all suggest a very different approach to each of these stages, and I do hope you enjoyed my little cake-making metaphor. If, say, you pulled a few sevens in a reading, the overall spread will provide the given situation, which will probably not be the process of making a cake, but do understand that 7, as the dominant number in a spread, speaks very much of the stage your querent would be at regarding the situation that you are reading. They would be re-evaluating the given situation, observing potential obstacles and perhaps making necessary adjustments, for example. And as a side note, if you pulled 3 cards of the same number, it is worth paying attention to the suit that is not present, just to see what might be missing here. Let us then go through each number, explore all the cards that correspond to said number, and identify the common themes. If you know this journey 1 through 10 and understand the meanings of each suit in relation to their element, you need not memorize 78 individual meanings, you only need to know 10. Number 1 then, as we have seen, represents the magician and all 4 aces. Technically, we could include cards number 10, the Wheel of Fortune, and card 19, the Sun, as ultimately both of these numbers break down to a 1, although they do have to go through 10 to do this, and so I will discuss these when we get to number 10. Ones are something new, something with potential, an opportunity, an offer. We have already looked at the aces, so let's move on to the 2s then. The number 2 is represented in tarot by the High Priestess, Justice, and Judgment, as well as the 2 of Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles. 2s represent balance and love, partnership, duality, purpose, diplomacy, choices, and unselfishness. It can indicate a reunion or a waiting period. We can see this energy of duality within the High Priestess. On either side of her stand 2 pillars, marking the entrance to this sacred, mystical temple, also associated with the Temple of Solomon. One pillar is black with the letter B, Boaz, meaning in his strength, and the other is white with the letter J, Jachin, meaning he will establish. The black and white colours of the pillars symbolize balance and duality, masculine and feminine, darkness and light, stating that knowledge and acceptance of duality are required to enter this sacred space. In a similar way, the figure of Justice carries the scales in her left, her intuitive hand, showing that intuition must balance logic. The Justice card speaks of alignment. If you have acted in alignment with your higher self and for the greater good of others, then you have nothing to worry about. However, if you haven't, you will be called out and made to own up to your actions. The Justice card often appears when you need to make an important choice, with the potential for long-term repercussions. Be aware of the impact your decisions will have on your well-being and the well-being of others. The Judgment card often indicates that you need to make a life-changing decision, but unlike those associated with the logical Justice card, this decision requires a blend of intuition and intellect. You may be at a crossroads, aware that any choice you make will bring a significant change with long-lasting effects. With the Two of Wands, you may make a choice between sticking with what you know or taking a risk. When the Two of Cups cards appears in a tarot reading, you may enter a new partnership, perhaps with a love. You are both focused on creating a relationship that is mutually beneficial, one that will create a win-win situation for both parties. You see eye to eye and appreciate what each other can bring to the table. Even in the troublesome suit of swords, the Two is still a card of balance, a locked situation, a healthy debate or argument, possibly a legal, binding or contract. When the Two of Pentacles appears, it suggests that you are juggling your priorities, your roles, and your responsibilities. This card implies that you are doing an excellent job of balancing these, but the card also reminds us that the line between coping with these demands and losing control is thin. The number 3 is represented in tarot by the Empress, the Hanged Man, the World card, as well as the Three of Wands, Cups, Swords and Pentacles. Threes are associated with optimism, abundance, inspiration, creativity, communication, spontaneous people, freedom-seeking and intelligent people. The number indicates a situation where more than one person is involved. This optimism, abundance, inspiration and creativity is captured in the beautiful lush forest and winding streams surrounding the Empress, signifying her connection with Mother Earth and life itself. She draws her sense of peace from the trees and the water, and is rejuvenated by the energy of nature. The Hanged Man taps into the freedom and intelligence-seeking element of the threes. The Hanged Man reminds you that sometimes you have to put everything on hold before you can take that next step, or the universe might just do it on your behalf. It's a consolidation of all you have achieved, that moment of pause to reflect what it is you have created, and to ensure that you are still on the right path, or to change track if you decide not. When you can see your world from this new perspective, you can see the new opportunities that would have otherwise been hidden if you hadn't hit the brakes. The number 3 is the number of creativity and self-expression. That need to self-express can be seen in the social happiness of the Three of Cups, or the Three of Wands, or the Three of Pentacles, which relate to the expressive creativity of the number. As the number 3 is such a carefree and happy number, the negative opposite is worry and anxiety, and the Three of Swords, being the intellectual suit of the element of air, carries this negative aspect of the 3. The number 4 is represented in tarot by the Emperor and Death, as well as the Four of Wands, Cups, Swords and Pentacles. Characteristics associated with the number 4 are patience, devotion, stability, concentration, planning, realistic values, and justice. 4 means that the result of an idea is visible, or the foundation is set. This can be a show me the money card. Behind the Emperor looms a tall, impenetrable mountain range, signifying that he is backed by a solid foundation, but resistant to making any changes unless he deems it necessary. The Death card carries the same air of reliability and inevitability. Death happens to everyone, no matter who you are, how much money you have, where you live, or what colour your skin is. The number 4 is the number of rigid structures, patience, restrictions and limitations. This number symbolises all that is unchanging, immutable and stagnant, and is often symbolic of hard work. The Four of Wands represents the stability, safety and comfort of the home. The Four of Cups can indicate a time when you are turning your attention and your energy internally to realign with this new phase of your life. You know that you need to be standing on solid ground before you can decide your next steps. The Four of Swords calls for a need to replenish strength and spend time connecting with your higher self by exercising patience and self-control. This solitary experience always bears fruit in the form of greater inner strength and confidence, a time to ground, and a time to recharge yourself. In its most positive state, the Four of Pentacles suggests that you have created wealth and abundance by maintaining a steady focus on your goals and acting conservatively. However, the Four of Pentacles typically accompanies a scarcity mindset, especially with money and material possessions. The Four of Pentacles can also suggest that you are placing too much value on money and material possessions. The number 5 is represented in tarot by the Hierophant and Temperance, as well as the Five of Wands, Cups, Swords and Pentacles. Fives are associated with versatility, new cycles, change, courage, obstacles, challenges, chaos, tension and conflict. 5 is also associated with material prosperity. More than one fives in a reading can indicate that a change is coming. The minor arcana fives are chaotic and unwelcome cards, as they usually point to negative situations. The fives of the major arcana are positive cards, which offer two types of solution to the chaotic minors. The Hierophant represents an established set of spiritual values and beliefs, and is often correlated with religion and other formal doctrines. A card therefore symbolic of institutional, state or religious authority and law, which represents external control. Temperance is symbolic of self-control or internal control. Temperance calls on you to remain calm, even when life feels stressful or frantic, to maintain an even temperament and manage your emotions. In the Five of Wands, each man wears a different outfit, symbolizing their diverse backgrounds and belief systems, and suggesting that, because of their differences, they cannot find harmony and common ground with one another. The Five of Cups suggests you're stuck in the past and can't let go. Old wounds and bitter memories flood your mind as you think about things that have happened. The Five of Swords turns up when you've had a falling out or a disagreement or a conflict, and you may be walking away with a sense of sadness or loss, or you may be upset or resentful over the heated words that you said or somebody else said, and now wish that you could take it all back. In times of need, the Five of Pentacles indicates that you feel isolated and alone. Just like the two people in the card, you feel as if you have been left out in the cold, and you may wonder, why is no one coming to help me? It may appear as if no one else cares anymore. However, since the windows in the church are lit and warm and welcoming, help is nearby, but perhaps you are too focused on your problems to notice. The number 6 is represented in tarot by the Lovers and the Devil, as well as the Six of Wands, Cups, Swords and Pentacles. Sixes speak of communication, balance, adjustment, harmony, peace, comfort, healing, family, protection, love and compassion. 6 indicates the ability of a person to transcend difficulties. Many sixes represent adjustment to conditions. In its purest form, the Lovers card represents conscious connections and meaningful relationships. The arrival of this card in a tarot reading shows that you have a beautiful, soul-honouring connection with a loved one. The Lovers is a card of open communication and raw honesty. Given that the man and woman are naked, they are both willing to be in their most vulnerable states and have learned to open their hearts to one another and share their truest feelings. The Lovers also feature in the Devil card, representing the illusion of all that the sixes represent. With the Devil, you are choosing the path of instant gratification, even if it is at the expense of your long-term well-being. In effect, you have sold your soul to the Devil in the hopes of achieving all that the sixes offer, but you have been deceived either by yourself or by another. The Six of Wands suggests that not only have you achieved your goals, but you are also receiving public acknowledgement for your efforts. The Six of Cups traditionally depicts a child, male and female, in a platonic relationship where love or kindness is being given by one to the other without expectation of anything being returned. The harmony and protection of the six can be seen in the Six of Swords, in which the man is crossing calm flat waters, taking the woman across to where it is calm. The water represents emotions, and, unusually for the suit of swords, it is calm here. The Six of Pentacles often depicts a man handing out money in benevolence, as the six is compassionate and caring. The number 7 is represented in tarot by the Chariot and the Tower, as well as the Seven of Wands, Cups, Swords and Pentacles. 7 is associated with faith in things that cannot be seen but do exist. Some of the attributes of the number include reflection, re-evaluation, adjustment, spirituality, wisdom, intuition, mysticism, solitude and high observational skills. The number 7 is the number of rest, observation and contemplation. The major religions rest to pray on their 7th day. The 7 forces us to think before we jump, to observe, wait, contemplate, plan and not act. The working man in the 7 of Pentacles rests from his work and waits patiently for his crops to grow, because there is nothing more that he can do. The 7 is also a defensive card because it tells us to take no action. The number 7 is not about advancing, attacking, movement, progress, or any action. The number 7, when playing to its positive attributes, is about rest, reflection, planning, and waiting. And yet, many modern tarot deck artists take the name of the Chariot and incorrectly depict the card in full flight, charging somewhere. However, if you look at the traditional tarot deck, like the Marseille or the Rider-Waite-Smith, you'll see a chariot that is either completely at rest or carrying a crowned, breast-plated prince posing in a relaxed manner. This is a character all suited up and ready, but he isn't going anywhere yet. The desire to charge forward does seem to be present, but he's not doing that. This is preparation, evaluation, and careful consideration. The Sphinxes represent obstacles that may need to be removed first. When the Chariot appears, we can consider several things. Is he just putting on a show of strength and position? Is he waiting for someone else to make the first move? Is he studying his opponent before acting? Is this a traveller who has already arrived at his destination, and not one who is about to set out as we first may have assumed? The Tower represents the negative characteristics of the 7, ignoring its restful nature in light of false beliefs or sudden changes, nasty surprises, unexpected events, or even natural disasters. The number 7 symbolizes the search for faith or spiritual enlightenment. Sometimes spiritual awakening is forced upon us through traumatic or unexpected events and changes in our lives. Some sudden change that shakes us out of our routines and beliefs to what is most important in life. The 7 of Wands represent an unchallengeable defensive position due to high-ranking status. The 7 of Cups combines the element of water with the numerological traits of the 7, water being symbolic of emotions, love and relationships, and this restful and contemplative card suggests an inactivity in the development of feelings, while also taking the time to meditate and analyze prominent feelings and relationships. The 7 of Swords is a card of theft, greed, deceit, and avoiding confrontation. The element here is air, which relates to challenges, conflicts, and the mental aspects of our lives. In numerology, the negative aspects of the number 7 are malice, theft, cheating, craftiness, confusion, and deceitfulness. The positive aspects of 7 are rest, introspection, thoughtfulness, and planning. The Seven of Pentacles advises no action, even though you might want to make a move, an investment, or try to work harder or rework something. This is the wait and see card. The number 8 is represented in tarot by the Strength card and the Star, as well as the Eight of Wands, Cups, Swords and Pentacles. Eights are linked with karma, free will and true justice. This number is associated with the power from within. More than one number 8 in a reading indicates positive change, whether in mind or status. The woman depicted in Strength has an infinity symbol placed like a halo above her head. This will be to remind us that the number 8 is in an upright infinity symbol, and that the laws of karma apply. Any action will have an equal and opposite reaction, as the closed loop always returns. She is depicted as using gentle force to open the mouth of the lion. When you are in a position of strength over another, remember to treat them as well as you would want to be treated yourself. The Star is the light that shines and the truth that sets you free, featuring 8 stars, each with 8 points, reminding us of the numerology of this card. The Eight of Wands says that the struggles of the Seven of Wands have now all but cleared, and you have the freedom and space to move forward with your plans once again. The 8 is a dynamic card containing a high level of energy that propels you forward to reach your goals at a much faster pace than ever before. The number 8 gives you a can-do, will-do energy and ambition. It puts you in control with the focus to get things done. Due to its ambitious focus, it is the least emotional of all numbers, and in the Suit of Cups, the 8 of Cups reflects this need to dismiss emotions and emotional ties that hinder ambitions. It's far too earthly and practical to allow anything to cloud its judgment and focus. The negativeness of the Eight of Swords leaves you feeling directionless and lost, trapped, isolated, even imprisoned. Swords deal with mental challenges, and therefore the root of this disempowerment will be in the mind. Too many choices, too many obstacles, too many problems, too much data to process. Confusion, frustration, and going around in circles, which is what the 8 is, an upright infinity symbol. The Eight of Pentacles, like all 8s, is a results-driven and ambitious card which doesn't have the time of the watery world of emotions, as these are an unnecessary distraction. The Eight of Pentacles, or the Eight of Coins, is a card of action in creating wealth, having the power or the ability to make money and financial good fortune. The element here is earth, which relates to wealth and material possessions. The aspects of the number 8 in numerology are power, control, drive, ambition, organization, practicality, self-reliance, and success. In many cultures, the number 8 is considered the lucky number for financial gain, and therefore the 8s and the Pentacles work very well together. Then the 8 of Pentacles is a great card to see in a spread, especially one of financial considerations. However, money will only come through focus and effort, and not by sitting and waiting for it or waiting for luck to shine upon you. Time and luck are on your side, but make the most of it. The number 9 is represented in tarot by the Hermit and the Moon, as well as the Nine of Wands, Cups, Swords and Pentacles. 9 is the number of universal love. 9 indicates that situations and events are closer to the end, or if they are finished, a new challenge awaits. Some characteristics associated with this number are closing, consolidation, selflessness, fruition, compassion, sympathy, and responsibility. The number 9 is the number of endings and completion. It is the number of the harvest that was sown in the ace, or the number 1, worked and tended to from 2 to ape, and you reap in the 9. In the Nine of Wands, the harvest can be seen in the tall sticks that have grown to a great height of the man who tends them. The wealth of the harvest can be seen in the Nine of Pentacles. And the ninth card of the Major Arcana, the Hermit, is also about endings. This character is depicted in both the Marseille and the Rider-Waite-Smith decks as facing left, which symbolizes the past. Therefore, the Hermit is specifically about retrospective searching, arriving at the end of something, turning around and looking back to see if you can make any sense of it all. The change that the moon represents is a cyclic change, not an abrupt one like we'd associate with death or the Tower, but a natural ending, which should be expected. You should never attempt to start something when you are under the influence of a 9, because it forces your focus on completing what it was that you started in the 1 or restarted in the 5. The Nine of Wands is a card of completing projects and endings in the home, community or workplace. The element here is fire, which is symbolic of energy, passion, home, community and work. The numerology of the 9 has the positive traits of endings, completion of cycles, harvest time, charity and humanitarian causes. The negative traits of 9 are being egocentric, arrogant, self-pitying, selfish and discontent. The Nine of Cups is a card of contentment, self-satisfaction and enjoying the good life. It's an elemental water relating to love, emotions and relationships. The aspects of the number 9 in numerology are endings, completion of cycles, harvest time, charity and generosity. The number 9 is associated with the moon, therefore this card can subtly warn of delusions, dreams and things not being all that they appear. The Nine of Swords is a card of stress or worry, extreme mental pain and anguish and sleepless nights. The element here is air, which relates to challenges, conflicts and the mental aspects of our lives. The storms on the path of life that we have to navigate through. In numerology, a number has both positive, negative and destructive influences. The suit of swords tends to focus on the negative and destructive. The negative aspects of the number 9 in numerology are over-emotional, egocentric, sentimentality and aimless dreaming. The character in the 9 of Swords faces right or east, in the direction of the future, which is where their mind is and the source of their mental torture. The number 9 in numerology is also a card of solitude, which is emphasized by the 9th card of the Major Arcana, the Hermit. It's also a card about the self, and a card about enjoying any material successes and rewards alone, such as in the 9 of Pentacles. The number 10 is represented in tarot by the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun card, as well as the 10 of Wands, Cups, Swords and Pentacles. 10s can be read as a 10 or a 1. 1 plus 0 equals 1, and therefore it is important to note when it comes to tarot numerology that 10s are seen as 1s, but on a higher level. 10 speaks of completion, endings, conclusions, cycles, chapters and new beginnings. The Wheel of Fortune marks a new beginning for something that was already part of your life, not something brand new, as with the Aces. The wheel is cyclic and each cycle, each rotation of it, will bring different fortunes, luck, challenges, defeats and success. All of these cards are symbolic of creation, something new and the beginning of a cycle. The 10s differ from the Aces in that they start from the base of an old cycle, whereas the Ace is something entirely new with no previous history. The sun transcends both as it rises in the sky, bringing a new cycle of a day and the moon, with its numerology of 9 marking the end of that cycle. The sun represents the best possible start to a new cycle, which can be either entirely new, like the Aces, or built upon, like previous cycles, as with the 10s. The 10 of Wands is a collection or a gathering together of projects and jobs in the home or a workplace for the purpose of moving ahead and on with something new. Smaller projects or plans may be the individual blocks of a much larger and more ambitious project, and that is what the 10 of Wands symbolizes. The Ten of Cups is a card of great happiness, the establishment of a happy family or meeting, someone who is the perfect partner for a long, prosperous and happy relationship. The element here is water, which of course relates to love and emotions. Numerology reduces 10 to 1, giving it a higher order version of the same attributes as 1, which are beginnings, creation, success and ambition. The Ten of Swords, like the Ace of Swords, marks the beginning of new challenges, plans or ideas. The difference between these cards is that the 10 marks the passing of one cycle and the beginning of a new one. An Ace makes no reference to the past, only a completely new beginning. The 10 builds something new upon previous cycles. The Ten of Pentacles is significantly different to all the minor arcana cards because it is the only one to arrange its elemental emblems in the shape of the occult symbol, the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life has 10 nodes, each connected to its adjacent node with a branch or path, of which there are 22 in total, and this is a very significant number, not only as it is the number of cards in Tarot's major arcana, but it's also a master number in numerology. The master number of 22, also known as the master builder, is the most powerful of all numbers. The Ten of Pentacles, or Ten of Coins, is a card of good long-term investments, financial security in the home and at work, inheritances, legacies, trust funds and family wealth. The element here is earth, which relates to health and material possessions. And that is numerology in tarot. Please do understand that this is merely one facet of reading and understanding